সার্থক জন্ম আমার জন্মেছে এ দেশে সার্থক জন্ম মাগো তোমায় ভালোবেসে সার্থক জন্ম আমার জন্মেছে এ দেশে আঁখি মেলে তোমার আলো প্রথম আমার চোখ জুড়ালো ওই আলোতে নয়ন রেখে মুদব নয়ন শেষে সার্থক জন্ম আমার জন্মেছে এ দেশে।
Blessed is my birth in this land. In loving you, O Mother, I have found the best fulfillment of my birth. The light soothed my eyes when I first opened them. May I close my eyes with thy light shining upon them. We can breathe free because many choose to die. We owe this freedom to the immortals who faced the British torture, who spent the prime time of their lives in British jail, and who sacrificed everything selflessly for the coming generations. The Free India is all set to celebrate the 75th year of her independence, and so is Team Desh. We are taught the history since our school days, which forgets to mention few important chapters, and therefore many sacrifices still remain unheard and unsung. This time, Team Desh will try to tell such few chapters from the history of Indian independence movement throughout the months of August, September, and October. Today, at the very beginning, we will discuss two major attempts by the revolutionaries which shook the British government and impacted the revolutionaries of the coming days as well as the general mass. According to historians like Sri Ramesh Chandra Majumdar, the feeling of nationalism first bloomed on the soil of Bengal and widely implemented by the Maharashtra. Inspired by Tilak Maharaj, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh came to Calcutta and finally the first secret society was developed as Anushilon Samiti. Like the Anushilon Samiti of Calcutta, a revolutionary center grew up at Chandannagar from a society named Bandhav Sammilani, founded at 1902. And its activity expanded on similar lines during the Swadeshi movement. There was an inner circle whose members were trained in revolver shooting by Professor Charuchandra Roy of Duple College in Chandannagar. It became the chief revolutionary center in Bengal after the Alipur conspiracy case in 1909. This Samiti had close connection with Aurobindo Ghosh's group, and many of its prominent members were also the leading members of the latter. Since 1909, it carried on work under the able guidance of Sri Motilal Roy, the founder of the Prabartak Sangha of Chandanagar. Being situated beyond the jurisdiction of the British government, it served as a great asylum to the political refugees or absconders. Even Aurobindo Ghosh was given shelter by Motilal Roy when the former had to leave Calcutta to avoid the British prosecution. It also became the chief center of manufacture of bombs, and there were 5 different centers for the preparations and stockpiling of bombs at Chandanagar. Seeing the growth of nationalism and revolutionary activities in Bengal, British played the trick of divide and rule and made the partition of Bengal on the basis of religion during the tenure of Lord Curzon in 1905. But the havoc protests from all sections of the society, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, and financial status, finally British had to withdraw the order of partition in 1911. But they shifted the capital from Calcutta to Delhi. On 23rd of December 1912, when the Viceroy Lord Hardinge were coming through a procession in Delhi to took the charge, a bomb exploded there. The message was loud and clear for the rulers. The Indian revolutionaries could shake the confidence of British authority by throwing a bomb in a procession of Viceroy in spite of heavy security. It took almost 2 years to trace the mastermind and the executors of this explosion. And finally, the famous Delhi bomb case was started. Now, we will listen from Sri Abhijit Roy about the background story of this explosion in detail.
Well, a very good afternoon to all. As Anushka was saying, that uh, forget forgotten hero like Rashbihari Bose, who had only one dream, the liberty of his motherland, which he performed while staying in India, and he performed while staying outside India. This man today is forgotten in the history of Indian freedom movement. The first of the incidences where Rashbihari was involved, we know, we have heard, is the Alipur bomb case, where Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, Barindra Ghosh, Ullashkar Datta were arrested. But at that time, there was no proof with the British police, and Rashbihari was very small. So he got, uh, so they did not arrest him, or he somehow escaped from there. Second thing we see is the Murari-Pukur bomb case, conspiracy case, where also the name of Rashbihari Bose came down. Now, as he was becoming known to the British spies, Rashbihari Bose, he shifted his base from Bengal and he went to Dehradun. In Dehradun, he managed a job in the government, what do you call, in forest department as an assistant laboratory attendant there. And he also managed for the time being to stay in a huge palace called Tagore Villa with a huge boundary there, which he thought would be very suitable for his next activities and meetings with the revolutionaries. Now, what Rashbihari did while in Dehradun is that he combined the different revolutionary groups of North India like in Kanpur, Agra, Lahore, Delhi, uh, and likewise. And even he contacted the groups of Kashi and Banaras, and he uh, brought them in one umbrella sort of thing with the sole purpose of creating an armed revolution in India against the British Empire. Now, the first job which was assigned to this particular group was, as Anusha was saying, that after the failure to divide Bengal in 1905, and with the revolutionary activities of Bengal on the rise, the British, they decided that the capital of the empire should be shifted from Kolkata to Delhi. Now, the reason here was that, as you know, British always played the policy of divide and rule. Now, they wanted to divide Indians in the term of religion, Hindus and Muslims. But in Bengal, the Banga Bhanga Virod movement, that is the movement against the partition of Bengal, was unitedly fought by both the Hindus and the Muslims. And we know that Sri Rabindranath Tagore played a very important role in the leadership of this anti-Bengal partition movement. But that is something else. Let us come to the point. So in order to avoid these two, it was decided that the capital would be shifted to Delhi. Now, after hearing this, the Bengal revolutionaries, they fumed in protest. And Rashbihari Bose also planned, along with all the members of the North India revolutionary groups, that something has to be done. Now, it was decided long back, because more than a year preparation, that Delhi will give a very grand and warm welcome to Lord Hardinge when he will enter the new capital of the British Empire, Delhi. And he was supposed to go in a grand procession on the back of the elephant, which sometimes, which at times belonged to the Mughal Empire. A huge elephant with the howdah and all that at the back, and Lord and Lady Arvind will be sitting there, and will be followed by a grand procession. So Rashbihari planned that if you want to plan anything, he said, he told his colleagues, told his friends, revolutionary friends, that if you want to plan something, plan big. It should not be an attempt to murder, but it should be actually a PM, a political murder. And he said that what he was aiming was that somebody should hurl a bomb on the particular elephant which was carrying Lord Hardinge. Now, this needed a lot of preparations. What preparations? First preparation was the timing and the position of the people who will be in action, the proper training of the people. So Rashbihari Bose, he went back to his native place, Chandanagar, which was a hub of the revolutionaries, because Srish Ghosh, Motilal Roy, Amarendranath, they were all very well known to Rashbihari. Now, Rashbihari Bose, he went back to Chandanagar and asked Srish Ghosh and Amarendranath to find out two daring boys who would be ready to register their name in the suicidal squad. Because first it was decided that that particular man boy should jump on the target with the bomb, and both the target and the boy himself will be blasted off. So Amarendranath, he took the responsibility of arranging for two young boys, and he arranged two cousins who actually used to work in a Shromojibi um, I'm just forgetting the name.
শ্রমজীবী সমবায়।
Just a minute. Shromojibi Shamabai at College Street. They were the disciples of Amarendranath, and that Shromojibi Shamabai was a sales counter-like thing where these two cousins were appointed. But actually it was a hideout den of the revolutionaries. And they used to stay at that time at the Uttarpara residence of Amarendranath. So Amarendranath brought these two people, of which Rashbihari chose one, that is Bashanta Biswas. And he took Bashanta Biswas with him to Dehradun in the nickname of Bishu Das, as a domestic help of Rashbihari Bose, Babu Rashbihari Bose, where in Dehradun Rashbihari has rented a house. Now, before I go to the details, I think I should give a little bit of introduction to this young boy, Bashanta Biswas. Now, Bashanta Biswas actually was born on February 6th, 1895 in a place called Poragacha, about 5 to 6 miles from Krishnanagar, at the district of Nadia of Bengal. Now Bashanta Biswas, he belonged to a very poor farmer's family, but his family had a revolutionary heritage, because Bashanta's grand uncle, Digambar Biswas, he was a leader in the Indigo Revolution against the British. You know, at that time, the British used to forcefully acquire the lands of the farmers and cultivate indigo there for their own profit and for their own benefit. They never used to pay anything to the farmers, and they used to cultivate indigo, get the indigo there, and from there they used to send it to England for the processing of the indigo, which was very highly profitable thing. And Digambar Biswas was a very poor farmer who was who had actually led a revolt against the British Empire in this indigo movement. And also there were other people who also believed in this particular Swadeshi movements in the Biswas family. So actually, Bashanta Biswas's family had a heritage of freedom fighters. And Bashanta Biswas, along with his cousin Manmatha Biswas, they, after having their primary education at the Poragacha school, they actually went to they were admitted to the Madhavpur Srimanto MA school, which was formed by the famous Zamidar of Madhavpur, Sri Gagan Chandra Biswas, who was also a freedom fighter. Now, after passing out from the school, Bashanto and Manmatha, they were admitted at Nadia's Muragachi Sarvato Sadhak Vidyalaya. Here, Bashanta was further influenced by his teacher, whose name was Sri Khirod Ganguly. who taught his basic lessons of freedom struggle to Bashanta Vishwas. When Bashanta was a student of class 9, Hirod Ganguly introduced him and his cousin Manmata Vishwas to Amarendranath Chattopadhyay, who was a member of the Jugantar party and a very well-known revolutionist from Bengal. Now, truly influenced by Amarendranath Chattopadhyay, Bashanta and Manmata, they left school and joined the Jugantar party. Amarendranath absorbed him in Shromajivi Samabay Samiti, which was situated at College Street, I just said, at the ground floor of the Overtune Hall. If you go to Calcutta now, you will see at the crossing of Mahatma Gandhi Road, which was Harrison Road before, and College Street, there is a YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association. That particular building, ground floor, that is called the Overtune Hall, and the ground floor, it was the Samabay Samiti, which was actually the hideout for many revolutionaries. And they used to work there in this cooperative and stay with Amarendranath along with in his Uttarpara home. Now, this Bashanta and Manmatanath, they started learning manufacturing of bombs from Amarendranath. Also the technique of using bombs effectively. But actually at that time, in Chandanagar, the time it was full with revolutionaries. Kanailal Datta, if you remember, was a boy from Chandanagar. A young student of Chandanagar, actually, Monindranath Nayak, he was a science student of Scottish Church College. And he actually was very interested to learn the manufacturing of a bomb and the actions of the bombs and everything. So he came in contact with Professor Suresh Chandra Datta, lecturer, a teacher of the Ripon College of Calcutta, who was an expert in bomb making. Now, in his Pashi Bagan house, this Monindranath Nayak Nayak was involved in the process of bomb making and practicing also. And Dr. Nogen Datta of Chandanagar told him the formula, which he further applied to the making of the bombs. So here, the first bomb after Barin Ghosh and Ulaskar Datta, the second bomb manufacturer, if I may call it like that, of Bengal was Mohindranath Nayak. Now, Rashbihari Bose, when he went to Chandanagar later, he asked Amarendranath that if he could manage to supply him very powerful bombs. So he named Monindranath Nayak and Rashbihari met him and asked him if he could make a good bomb, because Monindranath had become a bomb expert by that time, both in manufacturing and capability of throwing the bomb. So Monindranath said, yes, if you want, I can supply you. Rashbihari said, I want the bombs to be tested. So on the occasion of the Kali Puja or the Deepavali in Chandanagar, where bombs and crackers filled the sound of the air, Rashbihari said, okay, you blast the bomb at Shrish Ghosh's house. I will be hearing the sound at this particular point from the terrace of my house. Actually, the bomb was thrown, but it did not explode on the first throw. On the second throw, it exploded. So the operation was not very successful. Or you can say, according to Amarnath Nayak, the operation was successful, but the patient died. This was the thing told by Amarnath Nayak. So Rashbihari Bose told him that, okay, there is 1 year of time left. You improve the quality of the bomb, and after improving the quality of the bomb, you send it to Dehradun or you send it to Delhi, wherever the target will be there. He had in his mind, and when Srij Ghosh, he asked that, why are you today so happy, Rashu? Srij Ghosh used to call him Rashu. He said, no, actually, I'm seeing something in front of my eyes, that a bomb has killed the most respected man of the British Empire, that is the Governor General. So this was a dream, actually. Now, this dream was nourished in Rashbihari's mind for a long time, because he wanted a big operation to be done. Just not stray killings of certain police officers or police inspectors or like that. He wanted to teach the British Empire a lesson, a big lesson, so that they know that the Bengal revolutionaries and the revolutionaries of North India are not sitting quietly. So with this idea in the mind, Rashbihari asked for a boy, and Amarendra provided him with Bashanta Bishas. Rashbihari took Bashanta Bishas to Dehradun, where Bashanta Bishas was actually, to everybody, seemed like a domestic help of Rashbihari Bose in Dehradun. After reaching Dehradun, Rashbihari Bose, in his house, he gave shelter to Bashanta Bishas, who was named, as I know, as Bishu Das. Now, what this Bishu Das used to do, early morning they used to get up. His training started like this. They used to go to the terrace of the house, and there they should do, both of them used to perform some physical exercises and yoga. Then they used to come down, have morning tea. Rashbihari should go to the market to buy the groceries and the vegetables, etc. And then after that, Bishu used to cook, used to wash the utensils and do all the household chores. After Rashbihari had gone to the office, Bishu would sit down and study some books given to him by Rashbihari Bose. Now, what were these books? First book was a book to learn Urdu, the regular Urdu which is spoken in North India at that time, Hindustani Urdu, which was also spoken by the common people to the British Sepoys and the British officers. And then he also used to study from a book of chemistry, the theory of hand bomb, how the hand bomb is made, how it is blasted, what are the chemicals used in the hand bombs, etc., etc. And there was also a book of physics from where he used to learn, actually, the from where he used to learn the path of the projectile. I mean, at what angle a solid object should be thrown to reach the desired target and hit the target at the greatest force or momentum. So, these were the theoretical studies Bishudas or Vasant Mishra used to do. And in the afternoon, when it was all quiet every time, Rashbihari Bose had instructed him to go to Tagore Villa. Now, this Tagore Villa was a huge mansion with an extra huge boundary, with many trees, jamun trees, mango trees, and all the trees in the compound. And if there is a blast at one corner, the another corner, that sound will not be heard. And the caretaker of the house, actually this Tagore Villa was and he used to call the revolutionaries of North India there for a meeting. And he also explained about these meetings to the caretaker also, and took him in his stride. You see, as a leader, Rashbihari Bose had the capability of convincing people. He convinced this caretaker of Tagore Villa also. And at a corner of the Tagore Villa compound, huge garden, he had installed a few sticks with the distance written on them. And from a marker, Bashanta Mishra used to throw the cigarette tins, cigarette tins filled with soil, with each tin having the weight of 1 pound and 11 ounce, not more or not less. And for 3 months he used, he practiced, he did that target practicing, and he was almost an expert in throwing the target at a specific distance marked on those sticks which were installed. So after this 3 months of trial, actually, Rashbihari thought that he is not that very much well paid in his job at the government forest offices. So people may have some suspicion that how can he afford to keep a domestic help? So after 3 months, he told Vasant Mishra or Bishudas that, okay, let's go to our next voyage. He took Bishudas to Lahore. Lahore, he went to the house of a revolutionary called Bal Mukund, who used to stay there, who was a teacher at Lahore. He used to stay there with his wife, Ram Rakhi, and he requested Bal Mukund to keep this Bashanta Mishra or Bishudas in his residence and give him a job. So Bashanta Mishra stayed there at Bal Mukund's place, and he was given a job in a chemist and druggist. I'm forgetting the name. Just a minute.
Imperial chemist and druggist.
but he gave certain stones, of 1 pound, 11 ounce, and said, Vashanta Vishwas, that you continue with the target practice. After some times, the date was fixed that the procession will be on the 23rd of December 1912 from Delhi. So Vashanta Vishwas was called to Delhi. He was brought to Delhi by Rashbihari Bose. Now, everything was fixed. Vashanta Vishwas and Avadh Bihari, another revolutionary from North Bengal, they were given the two charges. Two bombs had already come to Delhi from Chandanagar, where actually one thing I would like to say, in North India, the revolutionaries were there, but the process of bomb making was not, not very, the people of North India, the revolution in North India did not know the process of bomb making. And bombs were made in the eastern part, that is in Bengal. And that is why the bombs were manufactured bombs were made in Chandanagar and brought to Delhi. If you remember, after 1928, the Bengal volunteers were formed. Jyotin, she went to North India, in UP and in Punjab. The main purpose of Jyotin visit was to teach the revolutionaries there how to manufacture the bombs. So this bomb manufacturing, actually, it started in Bengal first with Barendranath Ghosh and Ulashkar Datta, then with this Nayak, and then after that it Jyotin Das went and taught the revolutionaries of North India how to prepare a bomb or how to manufacture a bomb. But that's something else. So these bombs, they went from Chandanagar to Delhi, and Vashanta Vishwas was given the charge to hit the bomb first, and if he misses the target, Avadh Bihari was standing just nearby under a tree. He would then try with the second attempt. If the bomb accidentally does not explode. So that was the thing. Now what happened was, actually, Rashbihari Bose, as you know, he was a master in taking disguises. So on that particular day, he dressed himself as a Sikh, posh Sikh gentleman with sherwani, chudidar and everything. And he was at that time Sardar Harbans Lal Ji. And with him was a very decent looking young lady called Lilabai, or Lilavati, whom he introduced as his wife. And he requested one of the girls in Amir Chand's house in Chandni Chowk to make a little space for his wife to see the procession. Now this young girl a young lady was no one but Basanta Vishwas in disguise, who had under her chunni or dupatta tagged that cigarette case, which was actually a bomb. And a little far away, under a tree, Abodh Bihari was standing with the second bomb. Now, there are two schools of thought in this particular thing. One say that Basanta Vishwas, alias Lilamati, he threw the bomb from the balcony of Amit Shah, where the ladies were standing. Amit Shah's house, where the ladies were standing. Second thing states, it was the last moment Rashbihari changed his mind and he indicated his so-called wife to come down. When Basanta Vishwas came down, Rashbihari told him quietly in his ears that actually you have practiced the target from land to land. It will be difficult, maybe difficult for you to throw it from a distance, elevated distance from there. So you better throw it here. We don't know whatever is true because we hear two things from two schools, but it is a fact that when the procession came down to Chandni Chowk, there was a grand procession and a big elephant on which Lord Hardinge and Lady Hardinge were sitting there. And there was one man who was holding an umbrella behind the Howdah. Basanta Vishwas threw the bomb. The Howdah came down. The man who was holding the umbrella, he died. Hardinge fell into the ground unconscious. He had a deep cut on his neck, and people thought at first that he had died. But he did not die, but he was unconscious. He was rushed to the hospital. The procession was cancelled. All the programs were cancelled for the time being because the Viceroy himself was critically injured. Now, after this particular incident, Basanta Vishwas and Rashbihari Bose, they simply vanished into thin air. And the British could not find out any clue that who threw the bomb on the procession, the bomb which was so devastating that it nearly killed the Viceroy of India, Lord Hardinge. But as ill luck would have it, there was a raid in a mess in Calcutta near Rajabazar tram depot. There, a few revolutionaries were actually taken to prison. Now, particularly one man, Amritlal Hazra, was arrested there, who was a member of the Dhaka Anushkulan Party, and he was a bomb expert. Now, he used to stay in that mess. One of his associates was also there, and the police found a letter written in code word in his pocket, in the pocket of his kurta, in his shirt. After decoding, they got to know about these revolutionary groups of North India. And what happened ultimately was Abodh Bihari, Mal Mukund, and many others, Dinanath Talwar, they were all arrested. Now, Dinanath Talwar was very afraid of the capital punishments. So he was ready to become a government approver. Through Dinanath, the British came to know the names of Bashanta Vishwas and Rash Bihari Bose. But where were they? They had vanished into the thin air, could not be found. Bashanta Vishwas and Rash Bihari Bose, they were hiding. But while in the hideout, Bashanta Vishwas heard that his father had expired. So he repeatedly requested Rash Bihari Bose that to allow him to go to Polagacha to do the last rites of his father. Well, reluctantly, Rash Bihari gave the permission to Bashanta Vishwas. Bashanta Vishwas, on the day when the last rites were being performed by his younger brother, he went there barefooted. He went there and after reaching the house, he wished that he would perform the last rites of his father. But as we know, there are a lot of Mirzafars who are available in the country. One of his close relations, Puragacha, had already informed the police about the arrival of Bashanta Vishwas. And on that particular morning, when Bashanta Vishwas reached Puragacha, he saw a familiar face. And that was a police inspector who then and there arrested Bashanta Vishwas, and the police force took him to North India in Ambala cantonment. And there he, along with Abod Bihari and Bal Mukund, he was hanged in the Ambala jail. So that was the end of a great revolutionary, Bashanta Vishwas, an able disciple of Rash Bihari Bose, who had created a stir, who had really created a stir at the instance of Rash Bihari Bose in the British Empire by throwing the bomb at the Governor General of India, Lord Hardinge, which nearly killed him. So this is the first episode, the first story of Rash Bihari Bose, the action taken by Rash Bihari Bose. And after that, there was another big action, which is called the Lahore Conspiracy Case, which Anushka will tell you. But this is the first major contribution of Rash Bihari Bose in shaking the very base of the British Empire in India. Thank you, Anushka. I believe I've taken a lot of time. Now it's all yours. You can go ahead.
No, it's absolutely okay. Actually, let me first read the history in short, and then we will try to find out the effect of these contributions of Rash Bihari in Indian history, and how all these trials actually shaped the final war of independence. The revolutionaries took the lessons from these the failures, and finally how they shaped the final war of independence, that I will discuss in the second part. And let me start with historian Ramesh Chandra Majumdar while describing this movements of 1900 early 20th century. He described Rajbihari Bose as the most outstanding figure in this movement. And here I would just like to mention two things that Rajbihari Bose used to maintain a highest level of secrecy about the identity of the revolutionaries among themselves, which actually helped him uh, to assure the protection of Monindranath Nayak and the Chandranagar group. Because when Dinanath Talwar became the state approver, he didn't know much about Chandranagar group. So Monindranath Nayak, who is the uh, creator of this bomb explosion, the creator of the bomb, was always behind the screen, and these names didn't came to British police at that time. And even Dinanath Talwar knew Rajbihari in the name of Chuchendranath Dotto, which was his name in North Indian group. And so he just gave the physical description of the leader and the name Chuchendranath Dotto to British police. So it took British to for some time to trace Rajbihari Bose in behind of Chuchendranath Dotto, because many of the high police officials and high government officials was in touch with the with Babu Rajbihari Bose in Dehradun. He was famous for his violin performance. He was famous for his drama, and he was famous for organizing a protest. A protest uh, against the bomb explosion on the procession of Viceroy himself. And even Lord Hardinge
Actually,
wrote.
Anushwa, he was posing as if he is a great British Bhakt.
Absolutely.
He's a great, I mean, he's a most obedient servant of the British Empire,
British
and
Empire.
he was objecting in a meeting about the misdeeds done by some people by throwing a bomb, by daring to throw a bomb at the Viceroy. And Viceroy at that time, he was very injured and all that, he was recapitulating his health in Dehradun. And he heard it himself that when he was entering the circuit house, there were people, uh, there was a long procession of the people standing both sides of the gate. Uh, I mean, and a man who seemed to be a leader, he made a
Lecture.
sort of a bow, his head almost touching the ground to the viceroy. And viceroy in his diary, he had written that I never knew this man was the actual
Mastermind.
mastermind behind the attack on me. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yes. And another thing I should just like to mention that after the arrest of Boshanto Bishwas, even police didn't came to know about anything about the Chandanagar group. We can really imagine that how much of torture the young boy faced in the Lahore jail. But obviously, it is obvious that he didn't utter a single name. And so the Chandanagar group was saved at that time. Uh, anyway, as soon as Rajbihari came to know about the arrest of Dinanath Talwar and the news that British police already came to know about his involvement in the bomb case, he left Dehradun and hid himself. Such was his wonderful power of putting on disguise that though the police made a most vigorous search for him, he always escaped the vigilance and continued in the revolutionary activities. Many authentic stories are told about his escapes by fairly credible persons, which read almost like a romance. Rajbihari Bose chose Benares as his center of activity and stayed there throughout the greater part of 1914. A revolutionary center had already been set up there by some revolutionaries from Bengal and Jupt Pradesh, And the brain of the organization there was a young Bengali student, Shochindranath Sannal. On 1908, he had started a club called Anushilon Samiti. Though it was an independent body, its name was changed to the Young Men's Association when the Dhaka Anushilon Samiti was declared as illegal by the British government. Sometimes in 1913, Sachin Sannal went to Calcutta to procure bombs and contacted the Rajabazar branch of Anushilon Samiti. Here, through a notable member of Chandanagar group, he finally introduced to Rashbihari Bose. Rashbihari, though attracted towards the energetic young boy, sent Pratul Ganguly to accompany Sachin to different centers in North India before joining the Benares group. The two visited Benares, Kanpur, Lucknow, Agra, Ajodhya, Allahabad, and other places. After receiving a positive feedback from Pratul Ganguly about the Benares center, Rashbihari joined the group and shifted the headquarters of his activities in Benares. Thereupon, Rashbihari, with Shochindra as his chief lieutenant, started his next mission to strike the British government. Here, he was joined by a large number of active members from various corners of the nation. The most notable among them were Vinayak Rao Kaple, Damodar Swarup, Pratap Singh, Bachcha Singh, Kartar Singh, Ram Sarup Shukul, and Vishnu Ganesh Pingle, and many of whom had returned from America in 1914 in the company of the Sikhs of the Gadar party. Rashbihari directed his main attention to propaganda work among the Indian soldiers in British Army with a view to including them to join the revolt against the British, which was planned to take place simultaneously from the different cantonments from Kabul to Singapore. In the last part of December 1914, Pingle and Shochindranath Sannal went to Amritsar and had meetings with the leaders like Amar Singh, Nidhan Singh, Kartar Singh, Bhai Parmanand, and Ram Sharan Das. Here, the final plan was formed for the revolt, and Pingle and Shochindranath requested the Punjab leaders to control the youngs, especially who came from America. A single political murder or a robbery would have been enough to spoil the entire plan for the Pan India revolt. The Punjab group agreed to come under the leadership of a single leader to lead the movement, but the identity of Rashbihari was kept undisclosed. On 31st December 1914, the final meeting took place in Amritsar, and Mula Singh, the leader of Punjab group, handed over an amount of 500 rupees to Pingle and Shochindranath for a visit of Rashbihari in Punjab before the final revolt. Pingle and Shochindranath came back to Benares, and after analyzing the situation, Rashbihari shifted to Amritsar for further planning. At this point, Rashbihari and Jyotindranath Mukhopadhyay or Bagha Jyotin had a meeting on the Ganges of Benares, and Rashbihari took the charge of North India, whereas Bagha Jyotin agreed to prepare the Bengal zone for the revolt. Damodar Swarup got the charge of Allahabad. Rashbihari, Sachin Sannal, and Pingle started to manage the Punjab zone. Vibhuti and Priyonath in Benares and Nolini Mukherjee in Jabalpur. The bombs from Chandanagar was decided to take to the Benares by Priyonath Bhattacharya and Narendranath Bandopadhyay, and Vinayak Kaple and Hemchandra Dotto got the responsibility to transfer the bombs from Benares to Punjab. But during this time, Kedareshwar Guho from Bengal zone met Rashbihari and requested to postpone the date of revolt due to lack of preparation. Rashbihari denied this proposal, and finally, again, Bakhajotin himself went to Benares to meet Rashbihari. Rashbihari explained that the huge young force of Punjab, which arrived from America just few months back, was all set for the revolt, and postponing the date would lead to unnecessary wastage of young blood in local activities. Finally, Jyotindranath at this point revealed to Rashbihari about his plans to get arms and ammunition from Germany, and he hoped to see a better result of the revolt if, if it would happen after the arrival of German ship. But Rajbihari had doubt about the successful arrival of German ship, as the entire sea was dominated by British at that time of the First World War. So finally, Baghajuddin returned from Benares and Rajbihari started his last-minute preparation for the Pan-India revolt. February 21, 1915 was fixed as the date of simultaneous rising all over India, but a police informer, Kripal Singh, who had managed to disguise himself as a member of revolutionary group, secretly communicated the entire planning to the authority. The government immediately removed the suspected regiments from the British cantonment to other places and made a large number of arrests. Only the Singapore cantonment successfully removed the Union Jack, but even after 2 days, when they did not receive any instruction from India, the soldiers had to surrender to the British authority. Most of the leaders got arrested, but Rajbihari, Shochin Sharnal, and Vishnu Ganesh Pingle could escape the arrest at that time. Pingle got a confirmation from a soldier of Meerut cantonment, went there with bombs and got arrested there. And finally, the first Lahore conspiracy case started against the revolutionaries of India.
Actually,
Rajbihari,
that soldier, Rushua, that soldier who influenced Pingle of initiating the movement was actually a British spy.
yes,
So he didn't know. British were also, they were also making certain counterfiles. Like one thing here, there is a noticeable thing. There was a man called Kartar Singh. Now this Kartar Singh was actually a police informer, but he was tagged with Rajbihari. But
Kripal
later
Singh.
on, and the groups of the North India. But later on, it was found that it was Kartar Singh who double-crossed the revolutionaries.
Kripal
So
Singh,
there,
Vishnu Shah. Kripal
pardon,
Singh.
Kripal Singh, not Kartar Singh, Kripal Singh. Sorry, thank you for correcting me. Kripal Singh, actually, he double-crossed. He was a double-crosser. He was a double agent. So with these particular double agents and Mirzafars coming in between, uh, obviously the revolution was not successful within
Absolutely.
India. And that is why, as later on, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose have thought, Rajbihari Bose also thought the same thing, that it is better to go outside, build an army, and attack
From the
India
outside.
from outside to free India from the clutches of the British Empire. This is the main thing, main idea which came to Rajbihari Bose's mind and also later on in the minds of Subhash Chandra Bose,
Actually,
analyzing all these things.
actually, Meshamashai, if we go through the biography of Jyotindranath Mukhopadhyay written by his grandson, where he mentioned that during this time of, sorry, April, May, Jyotindranath Mukherjee already was at Koptipoda to receive the German ship.
Yeah,
And during that time, someone went to meet Baghajotin, who was sent by Rajbihari, because Rajbihari was in a little dilemma to stay in the nation or to go outside. The particular identity of this man is still not known to anyone, and at that time Baghajotin approved his journey to Japan, and he said the messenger that now the situation is not very favorable for us to continue the revolutionary works, and so it will be better if Rajbihari will move to Japan and start his activity there.
yeah. Because by that time, uh, the ship, the German ship which covered with arms and ammunition, I mean, filled with arms and ammunition, which was coming from Latavia, that was also intercepted in the mid sea by the British and captured. So there was also a smell of betrayership. Some man who betrayed and made this news available to the British Empire, to the British intelligence, and that is why
Absolutely.
there was a great, there's a famous what do you call it? You call it a war, or you call it a rebel, or you call it the entire British police army led by Charles Taggart on one side, and the five armed revolutionaries on one side, under the leadership of Jyotirnath Mukherjee or Bagajotin. They fought a unsimilar type of a battle, and we know the fate near Baleshwar in Chashakar.
And after
Anyway,
the
go ahead.
after the battle, actually, Tegard once told that I saw the bravest Indian, but I had to do my duty also.
Exactly.
So anyway,
Exactly.
coming to the two missions led by Rajbihari in India, we will find that irrespective of his high level of secrecy maintaining and everything, he could not save the entire group from the treachery of his own compatriots. And when he went to Japan during First World War, Japan was not at the enemy side of British. So his life was at risk at that time also. But the Red Dragon Party gave him a shelter. And one of the leaders of Red Dragon Party at that time once told that the personalities like Rajbihari are the international assets and they cannot be ruined like this. So they tried hard to give shelter to Rajbihari, and finally, how he got shelter and everything that we will come in another story, because uh, we should mention the name who actually helped Indian freedom movement to enter the next phase by marrying Rajbihari Bose. So
Exactly.
that should be discussed in some detail, and we will do that in later sessions of our Vartalap. But as I was telling about the first Lahore conspiracy case, Shochin Shanal was also arrested. Shochin Shanal got arrested few days after Rajbihari started for Japan, and his name was also included in the charge sheet of Lahore conspiracy case. Here, I should just like to mention that among the revolutionaries arrested in Lahore conspiracy case, Shochin Shanal was transported to Andaman. And after completing his tenure in Andaman, when he came back, his family tried to make a farmhouse for him so that he could be engaged in some work that would divert the revolutionary mind. But obviously, that didn't happen. And again, he left the home, and finally, he joined the group of Chandrasekhar Azad and Bhagat Singh and got arrested uh, another time in second Lahore conspiracy case and faced transportation to Andaman for the second time. And he is probably the only one freedom fighter
Yeah.
who completed 2 tenures in Andaman and
2 10
came
years in
back.
Andaman
And
Cellular Jail.
and after coming back second time to nation, he again started his revolutionary activities and tried to get in touch with the uh, uh, I mean the members of the revolutionary groups already working in Southeast Asia. And after that, finally he was arrested by British police in 1942, and he died in Gorakhpur jail due to TB. So these are the personalities who tried to shake the British Empire, and actually they were successful because it was a complete failure from the British side that uh, in spite of having Scotland Yard and high grade of intelligence and everything, they never could arrest the mastermind of Delhi bomb case and Lahore conspiracy case. And they had to pay huge for it because when Subhash Chandra Bose joined Rajbihari Bose in Southeast Asia, that was the final blow to the British Empire in India.
Exactly. That was the last war of independence.
Absolutely. And that's why Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, while addressing after the demise of Rajbihari Bose in Japan, He described Rajbihari as the father figure of armed revolution of India. So we have started our sessions of Vartalap regarding the freedom movement with paying our tribute to Rajbihari Bose and all the unsung and unheard heroes of the then India. I won't say not only who were directly associated with Delhi bomb case or Lahore conspiracy case. There were lots of other trials at that time, which the revolutionaries were trying hard to get the desired result. And all this effort actually finally shaped the last war of independence. So we are starting our sessions on the freedom movement by paying our tribute to all our unheard and unsung soldiers of freedom movement. And here I would just like to mention that both Abhijit uncle and me took lot of references, and I myself took few lines almost verbatim from the books of Ramesh Chandra Majumdar and Narayan Sharnal. And I also take some reference from autobiography of you can say the second in command of the group of Bagajotin, Sri Jadugopal Mukhopadhyay. So later in our discussion, obviously, we will know about other groups and other movements. And but for today, we are concluding our first session here.
Before
And
we conclude, Anushua, before we conclude,
absolutely.
In my mind, it has come to me that we must bow our head. We must bow our head to the man who has been totally forgotten, but his
Absolutely.
uncompromising attitude has shown the willpower and character of a revolutionary, and he is Sachin Chandal.
Yes.
We must bow our head to Sachin Chandal, who was the first revolutionary to, uh, I mean, to have 2 terms in the Andaman Cellular Jail. And even after a lot of tortures, he never succumbed to, and his mission was fixed. That is to free India from the British Empire. So
Absolutely.
in the conclusion, I bow my head to Rajbihari Bose, Amod Bihari, Bal Mukund, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, and above all, Sachin Chandal, Vishnu Ganesh Pingle, and others. Thank you very much.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Audrija. Audrija.